It's a house full. How are you guys doing?
Great.
My name is Syed Khurram. I'm a producer and writer also, and a director. Church. So I've worked with lots of Pakistani TV channels. You've probably seen Jackson Heights. That was one of my productions. Recently, there's a new show, 7 Days of Coney Island. It's on Green TV right now. But that's the reason we are doing this is because I've always said that we have to tell our stories. Because if we don't tell our stories, somebody else will tell our story. And we will just be a footnote in those stories. So I, for one, don't want to be a footnote. And we'll just go to my panel now. I will let you guys introduce you a little bit. So for my first guest is...
I can do it.
Asad Kirmani.
Yeah. No. Talk about it right, Dad. Thank you for doing this. Thank you all for being in this room. My name is Asad Kirmani. Just had my film play across the way there called How to Wash the Dead. I'm a writer, filmmaker by day. I'm a psychiatrist based out of Austin. And yeah, I definitely have some stories to share, but I'm excited to hear about everyone else as well.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Rung Film Festival, for having me on the panel and screening the film Chaman Kadara. I've been working in Pakistan for over 10 years as a producer and director. I've made over 10 Pakistani serials. The recent one was Bacha Begum, which came on Hum Television. My debut film was Thoda Chile. It launched the stars of Badila Lawaz and Ramsha Khan, who are superstars today. And this one was the recent venture with Syed Muradari and Wawa Productions. And we have an upcoming feature film as well, end of the year, called Team-Up, which is a horror film which has Amina Chaudhry, Faisal Qureshi, Sonia Hussain, Javed Sheikh, and Bushran Sari. So wish us luck, and thank you for having us on board.
Hello. Turned my mic off, so there you go. Alan Noel Vega. My friends call me Noel because I was born Christmas, shortchanged every year. If they're looking for Alan, it's usually a bookie, so Alan's out of the country a lot of times. But thank you guys for having me here. I'm honored. I'm not Pakistani, but I have worked with Pakistani actors and directors and producers, so I don't know, I guess we're all filmmakers, so thank you. I'm excited to get this rolling.
Hi everybody, I'm Amina Chaudhry. My film stayed in the first film class, Live Like Horrors, which had won a number of film festival awards. I have a few films, mostly worked in documentary, although I'm trying to turn one of my documentaries into a script. So thank you so much for having me here.
Round of applause for our filmmakers here. So let's begin with Asad. You are a psychiatrist, a full-time psychiatrist, and a filmmaker.
Correct.
My question to you is...
Can we get your contact?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. On all the socials.
Filmmakers needs to be... Why do filmmakers needs to be a little bit crazy?
Oh, yeah, that's a very good question. I think, well, look, whatever the drive is, whatever you do, right, whether it's in the helping fields or in the creative fields or whatever field you're in, I think there's still some part of, I think, every individual that, tells their own autobiography every day to themselves. And so for a filmmaker, yeah, it's pretty audacious to, it's not just writing poetry or painting a painting, not to mean those arts, but this one in particular involves a lot of people. You have to have a little bit of maybe a little bit of crazy, and can go well in this industry, I think.
That's great. So you have worked on this trilogy of short films it's called.
Yes,
we'll talk a little bit about
sure. That. How to Wash the Dead. The one that screened here was the third of 3 short films that I've done, and I want to acknowledge my producing partner, Irfan Haidery, here in the front row. On this last film, my art director is here as well, Gary Syed, the back row there. And they've actually worked with me on all 3 of these short films, and I call it my Jihad al-Nafs trilogy and struggle for self. And in each of these stories, again, the main character, the protagonist, is going through, again, different kinds of struggles, trying to find their own identity, their voice. The first one that we did about 10 years ago was entitled Pornistan. That is, as in pornography, a play on the word. I call it my terrorist sex comedy. And so, yeah, a little bit out there, a little
pretty
bit
unusual combination.
And Indeed. And so again, in this world, exploring again sort of the outlying things, I think has been a main motivator for me.
Nice. So let me ask you this: every, particularly a Desi filmmaker. So whenever the Desi filmmaker, especially, they're trying to make a movie, do they have to tackle this, gorilla in the room, terrorism?
No, I really hope not.
How do we get out of this box?
By not doing it. We're just not doing it. For me, and I know that just for myself, and I think that's why there needs to be more than a handful. Like if I have some stuff I need to work out in a film, I'll do it. But what we've even seen today, the wide range of topics and approaches and genres and all these different things, there's a lot of richness. And so I think it has to just be, again, the individual voice of the artist that does, again, many different things, and hopefully that just increases.
That's good. So that's bring me to Rafay. Rafay, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good, man. You've done a lot of work in Pakistan industry.
Correct.
So you made Thoda Jile?
Correct. That was
Yeah, in 2017.
Yes.
And then you recently made this Java Country.
Yes, Javelin Qatar was last year, shot last year.
Yeah,
Correct.
and you made a lot of Pakistani dramas.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about Pakistani industries, where it has come the past 10 years.
Where it's going? Well, I think it's evolved quite well from the PTV golden era. We used to have one channel, and now we have privatized networks, and we have when I was working under Hum TV as GM, and I became an independent producer. We were producing like 10 dramas in 1 month, and there's a lot of work in Pakistan with the drama industry in specific. But when it's going on, it's touching wavelengths. I think they enjoy it by lots of people in the diaspora, in America, in Canada as well. And we have good writers as well. For the likes of Khalid Rahman Kamal, Umaira Ahmed. Correct. So I'm guessing you worked with Mehdi Jabbar as well. You mentioned Jackson Heights, so you can have an idea of it's working out. So it's growing, it's evolving. The only thing lacking in Pakistan is OTT. We don't have OTT platforms, OTT productions happening. Recently, there was something announced with Momna Duret. She's producing something. However, we have yet to find out. But it's great. I mean, it's working out. Very few artists, lots of work. And I think that a prayer would be to perhaps, extend internationally. That's where, filmmakers like ourselves have been sitting here trying to make content, connect and bridge the gap so that, there's immense talent out there. And there's stories to be told. That's the purpose.
So what would you say to like a aspiring filmmaker right now working in USA, working on a budget? How can they approach Pakistani industry and like living in one of the areas, start a career? How would they approach?
Well, I mean, if there's an aspiring filmmaker and you want to work in the Pakistani media industry, first of all, you have to be there. And if you have experience, on-ground experience from here, that is great. And it'll be good to perhaps get in touch with the local production house, because that's where you get the contact from. But then again, it's all about one's portfolio. We have good film schools in Pakistan right now as well, and be a good touching point to getting in touch with, acclaimed directors and acclaimed production houses to start off. Perhaps it'll be also good if one has not directed something to perhaps assist to start off with, to get an idea and feel of the set of how it works, and then just network and get your way around. That's pretty much how I did it in the last 10 years. So I would advise the same to anyone who's wanted to work with the Pakistani media industry.
And I have read in your bio that you have started this collective DTA, Directors Guild of America. You were starting a Directors Guild of Pakistan.
Yes.
So how is that going?
Directors Guild of Pakistan, it took us 2 years to start, got it registered. And we have the likes of Sarmat Kusat, Mehdi Jabbar, Anjum Shahzad, and all the top directors who Jami, we have them. It's a work in progress, because I think the guilds take time to create, associations take time to form, and I think it's we have to give the directors back some initiative in which they feel pleased about it. Right now in Pakistan, the situation is that directors work on salaries with production houses, so they're loyal to their production house. It's not an open market. So it's kind of tough, but we have to convince them. It's been a year. And I think it's going to take some time to just actually form. And I'm thankful to all the founding members who are still associated, because we actually have a director for the box sound for the first time in history.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, we need to have at least an award show that has all the channels in it. Every channel is doing their own award.
Only one. Yeah, that's true. Humpty Awards then. There's no neutral platform.
There's no neutral
Used to be
platform.
Nagar Awards, but they finished. Correct.
So tell us a little bit about if somebody is trying to put some money into filmmaking here. If somebody's coming from Pakistan.
That's a very good question. The pandemic changed a lot. So ultimately, if you'd mentioned earlier, you guys, if you're trying to make a film, what I suggest is the key is to try to win awards, because ultimately this is, unless your uncle, your mother, your father, your brother, you are rich, this is a business. Yeah, it's an art form as well, but ultimately the art will only go as far as the business allows. So, the funny thing is, one of the lowest budget movies that I worked on actually got the most traction. It was a $100,000 movie, won at Sundance. It was a Persian, like I said, mostly foreigners I work with. It was a Persian vampire movie, and it won Sundance Award. And the next film for the director was a $30 million budget with Kevin Costner and a few other people, and Jim Carrey. So yeah, my suggestion is try to get it distributed. Try to get one secret is spend money on promoting it, get into festivals. There are A-list festivals. The popular ones are Cannes, Berlin, Venice, but there's like 100. Houston is an A-list festival. Austin is 2. So if you win, and then your marketing comes in, just bug people, say, hey, I would hire a publicist. They're not that expensive. And because the key is you want to get distribution. Once you get distribution, things get thrown at you. Like, projects get thrown at you. And your filmmaking career takes off.
So I've noticed in your bio that you work with lots of video games.
Sorry?
You also worked on video games.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over the place.
So I have a question, actually.
Yes.
I'm sure you work with AI.
Well,
how long do you think AI will take over and we'll lose all our jobs?
Well, we've been working with AI because NPCs are AI, non-playable characters, all the background. Yeah, so we've been working, I'm trying to remember. I think I did films first and then right away video games, because it was last century when I started in video games too. But AI is, I don't think we can stop it. I think employment's going to drop, and, the next World War, not this one coming, but the next World War, we're going to be using sticks and stones, because this one's going to basically obliterate everything which we're heading to. And then that'll get rid of AI. So the world, it's going to disappear.
So another 50 years and we'll be okay?
I'd say, yeah, another 30, 40 years will be okay. No, but it's funny because they're already using AI to commit crimes. Like they're spoofing voices and getting people in trouble and deepfake videos, exactly. Mena Suvari, sorry, I just did a movie here last year. We shot for 49 days in Houston, and Mena Suvari was one of the actresses, and we had aging, so it was high school, and then they go to prison. So we were going to use AI deepfake, and she's like, "No." I'm like, "What? I said, I was thinking to myself, man, I know about the makeup is going to make you look 25 years younger. I'm sorry. But she says, no, we can fake it. Oh, my God. So she's anti-AI.
I think there was a big issue in the contracts, actors' contracts also.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. Use the fact that you're Paki to your advantage. Amazon and certain companies like Netflix, because like I said, the distribution model is kind of turning in a strange way right now because theaters... Okay, during the pandemic, our theatrical got torpedoed. China added like 20,000 screens in 2021. So go figure. So they were, they didn't care. So it depends on where you're going. So I guess the reason I'm saying this is, you have responsibility to yourself, to your investors, and to your career, because if you make money, then people will throw money at you. Money has a funny quality. Just ask the guy from Jackson Heights. You know, if it makes money, people want to give you more money so you can make more money. You know, it's just the way it is. So I would definitely, like I said, try doing awards. Distribution is embrace your non-USA, because Amazon is not giving slates to American companies right now. Netflix neither. Why? Because the anti-work parties, like, SAG, the DGA, the Teamsters, the anti-work parties are very active here. So via Amazon, publicly traded company, you have to create content product. You go to Pakistan, you give it to, some studio there, okay, I'll give you a slate of 10 films. I'll give you a slate of 10 films. That's what I do.
So I think we're done.
Okay. But I have a friend in the UK, I was like, how, like, you don't know anything. How'd you get, 2 years, 10 films, and they extended you? It's like, because I'm not in the USA, mate. Oh, okay. So guess what? I'm in Australia now, mate. No, seriously, so we started a company in Australia, and
Okay, that's great. All right. So,
it works for Pakistan too, and India.
so hi, Amina, how are you?
I'm good.
Sorry, you have to wait such a long time.
Sorry, I'm at the end.
Yeah, your film played this first block, Live Like Harris. It was a very emotional film. It was really great. So tell us a little bit about that whole journey. And
Okay, so Live Like Cars, for anyone who missed it, is a story. It's a true story about a father and a son. The father is a Pakistani immigrant that came to this country. The son is a second-generation Pakistani American. The father had his pilot license and wanted to circumnavigate the globe in his own plane, and the son became a pilot. He would have broken a world record if he was successful. So they ended up flying around the whole world. And the purpose was to raise money to build schools in Pakistan. Their plane crashed 80% through their journey, so they were actually in Pago Pago heading back home. And this was during Ramadan, so they were like really rushing to get home, for Eid. And their plane took off just a few minutes into their, takeoff. And to this day, they don't exactly know what happened. So it may have been a plane, malfunction or something. And so the journey of how it happened, I did not know about the journey when it was happening. I knew about it at the plane crash. And it happened to be my birthday, but I didn't want to go out. I was like literally plugged on to social media watching, like, it was national and international news. It was everywhere. And I was just like refreshing, constantly looking. And I thought it was such an intriguing story, and obviously so sad. And so I kept watching this over the week or so. And I cold messaged the daughter/sister Hiba Suleiman on Facebook. We don't know each other. I mean, now we do, and I consider the Suleimans like family. But I just cold messaged her and I said, please just pick up a camera. And whatever you do, just film. Just film whatever is happening. And she read the message, and then a few weeks later she messaged me and she said, do you want to come meet us in Plainfield, Indiana? We're going to do something for Horace's birthday at his gravesite. And so I went, and that's how the whole film. And originally, when I first thought I was going to do the film, I was thinking it was going to be a 20-minute short film, nice profile piece, put it on YouTube. That's what I thought. And the more I met with them, and the more I was uncovering that Hiba was about to go to Pago Pago again to search for her dad, and then all this money kept coming in to build more schools, I was like, this is such an incredible story. And then they actually retraced a number of their steps. So, it was such a remarkable experience because they would go, like, we would be in the market in Cairo. We had a tour guide with us that was the same tour guide that they had. And we would go to the market in Cairo, and we would literally sit at the exact same cafe table that they sat at and order the exact same thing that they did. And it was all documented by pictures. And the camels, if you guys saw in the credits, the camels are the same camels that Babar and Horace rode. So, and the whole adventure, I mean, there was, the panels had funny stories. And I mean, it was an adventure in and of itself. There were so many crazy things that happened on that whole journey of retracing the steps. But the most powerful, obviously, was Pakistan.
that's really amazing. So I see that you've worked in a lot of documentaries. So when we were putting together this festival, for first few months, the only thing we got was documentaries.
Oh, wow.
So I have a question that why how can we get out of this, especially for Desi filmmakers? How can we get out of this documentary zone and get into like more narrative? And what would you
You're
say?
asking the wrong campus because I really do that.
Only document, but that's. I think you're the best person to answer this question because
Why do we do
why do you do documentaries? Yeah.
I can speak for myself. To be honest, I'm surprised that you mostly got documentaries because I got like a day before the submission deadline, I got a request. Franz Haher, who was our executive producer, said, "Hey, you need to submit this film." And I said, "Okay." And I did like the day before, like the deadline. The reason why I do documentaries is I like to be an observer. I'm always sitting at the end, and I like to people watch. So it's intriguing for me to constantly be behind the camera, but I have sort of this, like, the wheels are constantly turning on how to make a story. So I actually think, like, I don't know, I'm really surprised that mostly you got documentaries, because I actually feel like our community is thriving in the scripted space. I mean, I know so many films that I see that are scripted, but maybe documentaries is, our stories are not told. And I think that we have such a rich history, like Pakistani/Pakistani American/South Asian. So I think it's fascinating to talk about all of the different sort of layers of what it is like to be a Pakistani or a Pakistani American. So maybe that's why.
So when you're working on a documentary, how do you go about it? Like, what's your process of, making a documentary?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in works of probably half a dozen documentaries at any given time. And it's interesting because in our community, I'm constantly telling people, I have to clarify, like, I feel like we need to come up with a new term, because whenever I say documentaries, they automatically think like History Channel, boring narrator, I'm going to fall asleep, and I'm like, no, these are actually captivating stories. Like, they're just well-told stories about actual events that happen to real people. So I don't know, I'm a proponent of we need to develop a new name or a new genre for this. But how do I go about it? I mean, I can find a story, I feel, in an everyday encounter. So today, for example, I missed my flight yesterday, which was supposed to be last night. And I looked up a flight for 6 a.m. this morning. And, I'm like hovering over the laptop. My husband's like helping me. And my son is like, okay, this flight, no, this flight. And we're like, it felt like a war room. And then I booked the 6 a.m. flight, which would have gotten here at 9. And then my son, who's like an aerospace nerd, he's like, "Oh no." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, getting out the door. And he's like, No, you can't take this flight. I said, "Why?" He said, "It's a 737 MAX 9. You cannot take this flight. And whatever you do, if you have to take the flight, don't sit by any windows." So we canceled the flight and I got an 8 a.m. flight just to make him feel better. But yeah, I think that there's like stories literally all around us. And if you script it or you just pick up your camera and shoot it, there's, something you can tell. I don't have to go very far. I mean, I'm working on 3 documentaries within my own community because the people have these compelling stories. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So, Asad, tell us about the film scene in Austin and what's going on there right now.
Oh, well, I think there's a lot going on there. I couldn't tell you too much about it, but it's certainly, yeah. No, I mean, I know for myself what was really helpful about moving there, in 2010 and, having kind of completed my psychiatric training, but also this kind of, being trying to make films. And actually, I too had a documentary project kind of early on during my residency in New York. Instead of doing data-driven research, I also did a documentary there. But moving to Austin, I found it, again, very sort of supportive, just in terms of even finding, idle crew, like in the sort of, towards the end of the year from fall onwards, you can really find people that are there. You can find people that have connections to, production houses or, can really help you do things, and, senior people that want to help their junior people, make their first short film, whatever it is. So that was really supportive. I found it to be a really supportive environment there. Yeah.
So let's go to Rafay. Rafay, tell us a little bit about you did a huge drama about Bacha Begum in Pakistan.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. How was that experience? Because you were working with some big names in Pakistan.
Actually, Bacha Begum was stuck in the pipeline for 6 years. I bought the script and no one wanted to produce it. And so I was kind of disappointed. And then COVID happened and, the industry shut down. I was in Toronto at that time. I took the script back to Pakistan, trying to pitch it. And then Hum TV was very interested in that for some reason. Because I think there was a notorious hype behind Bacha Begum for a while with the cast that was affiliated. So it turned into a joint venture. It was a fantasy-based concept because we normally don't attempt content like that in Pakistan. It's mostly Sazbo and mechanics. So it was on the deep-rooted feudal law culture in Pakistan. It was fantasy. If a woman was a peer, how would it be? And would people accept it? Of course, it was critically praised. It went on to get LSA nominated. Working with a huge cast is of course difficult because the requirements sometimes are like difficult to attend to all of them. The transportation, the lodging, the management. I was doing it myself, driving them throughout everything, food, dietary requirements. So yes, I remember each and every.
That's a requirement for Pakistani actors. Then I will producer have to drive them.
Of course, I've done it. I had to do. I have no choice. At 3-4 in the morning, I have to get my nails done, but I can't leave it before 4 p.m. I was like, okay, I shall be outside your house and I'll pick you up. So I've done that. Yeah, it's a funny episodes, but there was this really funny thing. One of them was I can't have carbs. I want to lose weight, which I respected. I want to have chicken tikka. I was like, okay, I'm like, we're in the middle of nowhere. It was Larkana, and we have any fancy restaurants. So I had to hire a cook, to kind of make sure that the chicken is fine, whatever, and it's not mixed. Now the rest of them are having normal salad and whatever roti. The chicken tikka comes on the table, and everybody looks at me, and they're like, "Why is she having chicken tikka? Why am I having chicken tikka?" I'm like, "Well, because she asked for it. She's dieting." And the next day, I had to arrange chicken tikka for everyone. So yes, there's the fun times as well, but it's quite stressful dealing with it because it takes around 4 to 5 months to produce, and sometimes it's hotter, so we had to shoot it in the winter time. We were going out of station. It was a good experience, and I think getting the script, acquiring it, and keeping it, and 6 years in the making, which I thought was great. So it worked out just fine. Thank you.
Because it was a great drama. So Alan. No, sorry. Give us another story, man.
Oh, gee.
You've got so many stories.
Okay.
No, tell us a little bit about working in Texas specifically, because this is where we are working.
My first line producing gig was in 1986, before I knew you were born, and that was also Jet Li's first movie that he ever shot in the United States. And I had just left Texas to go to LA, so I said, I want to shoot in Texas. I mean, it's a Western, once upon a time in China and America, so I don't know if you're familiar with Hong Kong cinema, but Tsui Hark was the creator. Tsui Hark is the Hong Kong director who made Jet Li famous. So anyway, this is the first time shooting in the USA. This is my first time line producing, so I'm in Texas, and we're in Uvalde, Brackettville. I actually know that school with the kids, that terrible tragedy a few years ago. Anyway, so it was really funny because Jet Li is this big action star. I mean, he's not as big as Jackie Chan, but like Wesley Snipes drives to Brackettville because they want to meet Jet Li. Some agents want to, Quentin Tarantino shows up. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm here to see Jet Li. Oh, I thought you were going to visit me.
I think Quentin is a big fan of Korean and Chinese cinema.
He's a fan of anything. He's not. He doesn't like me because I didn't like when I was in charge of development at Oliver Stone's company. I didn't like Natural Born Killers.
Who liked it?
Well, I didn't.
Who liked it?
No, thank you. So I told
It was great because Mr. Fatih Khan actually.
So anyway, my story about Jet Li is there's several in this movie because Hong Kong, every country is different. Like in India, Russia is different, Japan's different, Hong Kong is different, Philippines is different, America is different, Europe is different. I love Spain. So slow, but the food's good. Anyway, so in Hong Kong style, they are stuntmen, right? But the important stunts, the actors have to do it per face. I have to say face. So freezing water, Jet Li's in it. And I'm like, please, he's our star. We have no freaking acting double for him. So of course he gets sick. But my favorite story of that movie is The director is Rung. He's a fat, him, Jackie Chan, Yun Biao, they're just after Bruce Lee. That was them. So he's explaining the ending scene, which is a fight on a windmill, and Jet Li says that's physically impossible to do. And Simon goes like this. I'm going to show you how it's done. So he climbs the windmill, he swings and swings and swings and swings, and he flips down. You got it? This is a guy who's like 5'7", 250 pounds. So that was, but this was like definitely not a traditional. I mean, look at Bollywood is different. I've done a few Bollywood films as well, and so they're all different. So I guess you guys should really ask what you think. Like Japan's different.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm sorry you're so in time, but I know you have lots of stories. So I'm not having come to you and ask. So what's your next project? What are you working on right now?
I was hoping you were going to ask me for a funny story.
Tell me a funny story. This is a funny story.
Saved one because it said /funny stories, and I was like, I need a funny story.
They told me it's got to be funny, and I said, I'm not a stand-up comedian.
I don't know if this is funny, but it was quite adventurous. But when we went out on the camels, so this is Egypt. A lot of these countries don't like cameras. I mean, it's like the cops will come and like confiscate the camera and throw you in prison. And we were warned about this. So we stuck the cameras like under our shawls or whatever and went to meet the camel people, me and another camera person, went to meet the camel people, got on the camels and said, don't worry about it. We're going to take you far out and then you guys can film. It's not going to be a problem because we wanted to get the three of them on camels, the same camels that Haris and Baba rode. So we go out filming, having like the best time. No one's around, getting all our shots, getting the pyramids. Come back and there's a swarm of police literally waiting for us, right? And it's me and a female, two female camera people, and the camel guy, and like our driver. And so one white American that was there that was our tour guide. And so we walk and we're like intimidated because they've got their batons out and they're serious business. So I'm the only one that knows a little bit of Arabic, but my Arabic is like very basic. So I'm like trying to talk to them in my very broken Arabic, and they're like, well, what were you doing? While I'm doing that, I'm like telling Beth, I'm like, take the cards out, replace it with empty ones, right? And so she's fumbling, and I'm like trying to talk to them, but like make them laugh, and they're like angry, and she's like fumbling, and she replaces the cards. And so I'm like, no, we didn't film anything. We didn't film look, we didn't film anything. And she played it, and it ended up being like something from her daughter, like back at home or whatever. And I was like, where's the girl? She's not here. Where's the girl? So anyway, we got away scot-free because I think he was seeing how hard I was trying to speak Arabic to them. And they were just like, forget it, just go. Get in your car and get out of here. So that's our funny story.
It's amazing. You really took your heart, the funny story part.
I was stressed out, I will say. I'm like, I don't have a funny story, but yes.
I think I have another few minutes. I want to open it for the audience if they have any questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you for the question. I think just from early on, even sort of undergrad, I was a psychology major, but then really it's all about still the human story, human narrative, and that was always really the basis of my interest. Like I can actually kind of tie in a funny story about this. Undergrad, I was a psych major, and a lot of my friends were RTF, and so I was, still kind of tooling around on their films and stuff. But I was a psychology major, thinking about pre-med, and I got into medical school. And man, first semester, like in front of like a cadaver, I was like, "Well, I've made a bad decision here. Like, this is not for me. Like, what have I done?" And they'd actually applied to film school after having gotten into medical school. I was like, "All right." And then the hubris of youth, I was like, "I'm only gonna go to NYU." So I only applied there, didn't get in, of course. And then I just figured I'd finish this. I'd finish being a psychiatrist and then kind of tie it in somehow. But yeah, I see that the two are very closely related, just in terms of listening to people's stories, expressing stories, and that's how it really informs my work.
Well, there's no denying that they are there. They're working within the industry. I mean, the fashion industry, the drama industry, and being a producer as well, they're part of the makeup industry. So they're human beings at the end of the day. The thing is that in the narrative structure, I give the credit to the writer who came up with the concept. I wanted to focus on the idea of, when we've seen these things float out in popular culture, the Me Too culture, etc. And but according to the writer, she wanted to focus on the fashion industry. Perhaps she had researched on it and her stories, and that's why we brought this subject to limelight. Of course, I had given her the complete creative freedom when it came to language. I was a no rules barred. Festival runs. This is what festivals are going for, and we're not going to have any controversy around censor. And it's true art, and so she wrote it, and that's the way it was shot. And the good part is that every artist associated with it accepted the script. So we just commend their effort. And however, at the end of the day, it's a Pakistani film, and we would really want Pakistanis to watch it too, in its true nature and form. In the past, a couple of films associated with such subjects have gotten, sorry about that, gotten either banned or either not been screened. So we will try our best to even show it in Pakistan. So let's just hope and pray.
That's great. Thank you. I also have a shout out. A Girl Walks Alone at Night is one of my favorite Iranian movies of all time. So it's actually really dope to see someone who's worked on it.
Phenomenal film.
You have a question?
So I've got a two-part question. First one, I guess, Rafay, I'll put this to you, and then Asad, you and Amna, because I think Pakistani indie films, documentaries, you guys are telling great stories. Me being sort of on the observer side, I always wonder, how do you guys keep these afloat? It's a lot of time, sweat, money that you're spending on this. And I always wonder about the economics of it. So if you can speak to that.
Well, the executive producer is sitting right in front of me, Syed Muradin. Well, I'll tell you, short films, we try to keep it under as much budget. We do request the artists that, this is the maximum budget we can go for. The biggest blessing we had for this one was that Beagle, who had written the script, is a huge name in the Pakistani media industry. And artists wanted to be affiliated with it. So the budget for them was not a problem. They're like, okay, fine, we'll do it because it's a script. And they liked it. The amount of detailing we went into was rehearsals, which is normally not done anymore in Pakistani dramas. We rehearsed for it. We actually had, all the scenes done prior to it. So I guess the cost structure matters at the end of the day. As long as it looks good on screen, it is justified and it is exhibited. So that's one thing which comes with experience, to justify technical requirements. And that's how I see things floating as well.
That's amazing because whenever we made any project here, we never had a chance to rehearse it. All the rehearsal we did was on the set.
Correct.
Because economically it doesn't make sense for us, it's not possible for us to set aside a number of days for rehearsal and then show the movie.
Correct.
So it all depends on the budget, what kind of budget you work on.
Okay, so hello. Okay, so I don't know if any Indian is sitting here in the room. No, you're not. So I'm the only Indian, and you can ask Fahad. So my question is, being an Indian, I have my own opinions about Pakistani filmmakers and, how I look to the work that's been created. And I must say that, I didn't expect such good films to be a part of the festival. And I'm really proud of everybody that has put the work behind the camera and the team that's put the films together. And I feel very sad with the situation that entangles between India and Pakistan about collaboration and, how much we can do things together. So what I would want to know is, do you guys have any efforts that you're doing or would want to do towards collaborating? And is there any sort of animosity that you feel that is prohibiting, working together and, stuff like that. So in general.
You can take the story. I think
I'll speak directly to that, and I agree with what you're saying. I think there can be so much fruitful work done between the two countries, right? So my producing partner and I, Irfan, back in 2020, came into contact with a filmmaker based out of Kolkata, and he had a film at an Austin Film Festival, and we met him through there, and he reached out to me, and it's a script that he had written about the Gujarat riots in 2002. And it's been a 4-year journey. It's a short film, a long short film, about 25 minutes. Again, the story of a one night where a mother and daughter are trying to survive the communal riots at that time. It's very, very political, very heavy. He knew that he needed to get, producers stateside to try and. So it's a co-production between our company and a production company based in Mumbai as well. But hopefully that, it is finished. It's done. We're trying to, get it out there in the world. Yeah, it's called Good Goody. Yeah.
And you want it.
We'll find out. We're trying right now, just trying to really just hustle and get it out to as big of a premiere or big as a festival as we can get attention to. Yeah. Thank you.
Rafay, you want to say?
Well, the thing is, it is sad. This is true. It's sad. I was speaking to Syed Saab outside a while ago, and I said that Pakistan International Film Festival happened in 2018, and I worked as a producer and a hospitality manager at that event. I had the honor to host Rajamouli, Shobhu Yalagadda, Nandita Das, Vishal Bhartwaj, Anjum Rajabali. They all flew in, and I had a great time with them, and we screened their films. We had panel discussions, and I was a volunteer at that time. I didn't feel any animosity because art is beyond, and what has happened is just politics, and it's just we were screening Pakistani films in cinemas. It brings us great footfall. It's good for us because our cinema was starting after 2016, and due to the pandemic, it got hit. And now we're reviving again. We have like 3-4 films coming in a year, which is not good in Pakistan. And there's no lie that after 2000, after Zia's regime, the cinema industry got destroyed, and we've been trying to work on it as a filmmaker. I hope and pray that Pakistan media film industry goes up, and we should work together, because I can tell you, last week I was in Tampa Bay, where Jaman Ka Darakh won the best short film and the best actor. And it was, the point is, it was mostly amongst Indian films. And I appreciated the fact that they gave an award to a Pakistani film. So there's a message of love and unity is out there beyond borders. We just have to make sure it thrives within our own subcontinent. And hopefully one day it will, of course. Politics. So politics, that's only the...
You have worked with lots of productions between different houses, so you must have something to say on.
I work with Pakis and I work with Indians, and I don't know which food is better. I like them both. But in Michigan, there was a time a decade ago, Michigan had one of the healthiest rebates in the United States. So I work with Pakis and Hindis, and like I said, we did a bunch of films in Michigan, and they all got along. I have very interesting stories. The Pakistani movie was a big budget. The director was in Pakistan, the producers are all doctors from Pakistan. And I told them, I says, okay, there is a problem here. This is the opening of the movie, okay? The opening is, it's in Michigan, the woods, very beautiful, Turnip Rock. If you're not familiar with Michigan, there's nice lakes, 20% of the world's fresh water is there. And the guy is a Jahangir. He leaves his horse, he goes into the forest, and becomes dark. We come into a cottage in the middle of the dark forest. He barges in. Where's the girl? The Jahangir goes, right? And the jinn goes, huh? Right? So the opening scene, they fight, and, he beats the jinn, and the jinn curses him. So I told the director, this is terrible. He goes, why? We just, it looks like the hero went out of his way into the forest to beat up the jinn who's minding his own business, and you want us to say this, really? Really? So we were sad because that'll be fine. It's not going to be fine. Sometimes, you're a director, or creative, but, show it, don't say it, So there's a true story. The movie's called Jinn. It's amazing. The special effects are great. If you can get past the opening, anyway, so the story there is, they say in Hollywood, show it, don't say it. Don't say, show it. So all we had to do is just show an insert shot of the girl tied up or something, But anyway, that was a lot of fun. We had Indians and Pakis, and they were all great. It was a lot of fun. And I didn't know you guys like to sing a lot. Oh my goodness. So that was a lot of fun too. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I want to add something else. The festivals are very important. Like I said, that one of our smaller budget films actually was one of the biggest successes. Festivals are very good stepping stones. So if your film picks up an award, make sure you publicize it. Make sure you share it. Let people know. I say that because I managed the Latino Film Festival for Edward James Olmos in LA. When it first started. I also managed the Feel Good Film Festival, which was in LA. We got, so I was one of the founders. So yeah, my heart is in festivals too, but like I said, ultimately it's a tool if you just want to be an artist and get awards, and good for you, right? But usually you want to do more than one. You want to go to your next film. And sadly these cost money, so make sure you tie up your publicity, and when you win awards, just, make sure people know. And then that way they open doors for you.
Must have come across many Indians working or have Bihai.
I don't consider myself a niche filmmaker at all. I mean, I'm a woman, and I use that to my advantage. Even though, to answer the person's question, I've struggled a lot as a woman in this field to get funding that. Sorry, but men get so much easier than I get. And I've literally pitched in front of wealthy Pakistani men on really important, like the Live Like Horror story, but other stories as well. And they would have a discussion amongst themselves while I'm there, as if I wasn't there, deciding if they should fund me or not. So, these types of stories happen all the time. But I don't identify as anything other than a woman filmmaker. I am Pakistani American. I was born here, but yeah, to me, it's just wherever there's a good story. I don't think it matters so much. This story happens to be because they were Pakistani American, they identified it, and they did their work in Pakistan. So I think that's why it's featured here. And Farhan Tahir was our executive producer for that reason, I think, as well. But yeah, to me, I don't niche in that way.
Okay, guys, thank you so much, all of you guys, and thank you so much for you guys to listen.
Thank you.
And he calls it, man, I wish you all like, man,